Navigating the stack of the Bitcoin Cash JavaScript toolkit can be somewhat confusing. What's really important to keep in mind is that the toolkit allows you to create a stack of software, and primarily it's used to replicate rest.bitcoin.com. So, of course, you can see that website by going to rest.bitcoin.com. And you can get a sense of the REST API that is at the core of the software upon which everything is built around. Now, if you are looking to replicate the rest.bitcoin.com stack, this is what the stack looks like. At the bottom is a full node, and then built on top of that is an Insight API and an SLPDB. Now, this Insight API is originally version 3, and it has been deprecated, and it has been replaced by Bitcore Node, which is currently on version 8. Insight API was a precursor to that software. And then everything is wrapped by the rest.bitcoin.com REST API. Finally, the Bitbox JavaScript library is used to interact with the rest.bitcoin.com Insight API. And then as an application developer, you would build your application on top of this stack of software. So the advantages of building that stack is that you are locally duplicating the exact same infrastructure provided by Bitcoin.com. So if you plan to build your application using that infrastructure, this will allow you to develop locally without rate limits, in the same way that you would be able to then deploy your application to production and expect to receive the same behavior. The potential downside of this is that this code stack is subject to change by Bitcoin.com. The code that you get on the hard drive could fall out of sync with the actual code being used by Bitcoin.com. So you need to check the software you're running and make sure that it is in sync as time goes on. An alternative implementation or an alternative stack also provided on the hard drive is the BCH API stack. Now, this is a slightly different version. It's based on all the same software, the same stack used by Bitcoin.com, but it will change a little more slowly, and it has a few more pieces of software added to it. So if this is the rest.bitcoin.com stack, this BCH API stack looks like this. It's very similar. They both start with an ABC full node, but they differ in the indexers. So whereas REST uses Insight API and SLPDB, BCH API uses the Bitcore node, which is the version 8 replacement of the Insight version 3 used by REST. And it also uses Blockbook, which is another indexer and provides much of the same information as Bitcore, and diversifies the platform risk by using those two modern pieces of software, because Bitcoin Cash has a scheduled hard fork every 6 months, and a lot of the software in this stack tends to break when those happen. So by diversifying and having two redundant types of indexers, if one breaks, the other one probably won't. And as a developer writing an application that your users depend on, that level of reliability should be important to you. And then, like REST, it also uses SLPD to validate SLP token transactions. So BCH API is a REST API which is forked from rest.bitcoin.com. The main difference being that rest.bitcoin.com REST API, as well as the Bitbox JavaScript library, is written in TypeScript, whereas BCH API and BCH.js, the JavaScript library that corresponds to Bitbox, these are both written in ECMA 2017 standard JavaScript. And then, of course, you, as an application developer, you don't really need to worry about these low-level details. It's just more of a preference of whether you want to work with standard JavaScript or work with TypeScript. That would be one deciding factor. And also your concerns about hard forks and their implications to the software running on the stack. Bitcore is developed by BitPay. Blockbook is developed by Trezor. Both companies have a clear financial interest in continuing to maintain their software, and that's why the BCH API targets it. Also, the Bitcoin.com stack will frequently have updates to support the latest changes in the technology, whereas BCH API and BCH.js, they'll change much more slowly. Their emphasis is on reliability and security updates, and new features are a lower priority. I've created these libraries really with the intent to focus on stability. And those are really the two separate ways. The good news is that the toolkit, the hard drive, it comes with the software to run both of these stacks. So you can switch back and forth between one or the other. You can try them out, find the one that you prefer. You can choose the indexer that you prefer in your software. So it gives you quite a bit of flexibility. And so, yeah, just to summarize, BCH API stack uses multiple modern indexers to mitigate platform risk. That's the Bitcore and the Blockbook. The REST API and the BCH.js library are both written in ECMA 2017 standard JavaScript, and the REST API and the library will add features slowly and focus on reliability.